Momentum Lab, hit like, share, and subscribe.
You know, we all say that life is short, but do we really act like it? Most of us spend our time like it's this infinite resource we'll never run out of. Well, that's what we're going to tackle right now. We're going to break down how to stop letting time just slip away and start living on purpose. And it all kicks off with one single, really powerful number. 30,000. Just look at that for a second. What do you think that is? It's not the price of something, it's not a zip code, that's it. That is the average number of days you get in a human life. That's your entire inventory. And this is where it really starts to hit home, right? I mean, if you're 30 years old, you've already burned through more than a third of your days. Gone. This is exactly why the word someday is probably the most dangerous word in the dictionary. It gives you this illusion that the clock isn't ticking, but it is. So let's start by really digging into the problem. Why does it feel like time speeds up the older we get? Well, it all comes down to a weird trick our brain plays on us. It's called the time unit paradox. Think about it. Remember when you were a kid and summer vacation felt like it lasted forever? That's because everything was new and exciting, and your brain was firing on all cylinders, recording everything. But as adults, phew, we get into these routines, and the days, the weeks, they just blur together. Our brain basically goes on autopilot and stops recording the boring, repetitive stuff. And this is the trap, right? The trap of routine. You take the same commute, you eat the same breakfast, you watch the same shows, and it creates this kind of time blindness. And before you know it, a whole year has vanished because you haven't given your brain anything new and memorable to hold on to. And that leads to this other huge psychological mistake we all make. We try to cram way too much into a single day, we get totally burned out, and then, poof, we drop our long-term goals, completely missing how those small, consistent efforts would have added up to something massive over a year. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a bit of a downer, I know, but the good news is there is a solution. And it doesn't start with a new calendar or a productivity app. It starts inside. You have to win the game inside your own mind first. Here is an incredibly powerful tool. Anytime an emotion gets triggered, anger, frustration, fear, the actual chemical rush in your body only lasts for about 90 seconds. That's it. After that, the initial wave is over. So if you're still feeling that anger 5 minutes later, that's a choice. You're choosing to keep that feeling going. You can't always control the first wave, but you are 100% in control of what comes after. Now, this one might sound a little weird, but hear me out. Quitting can be a superpower. I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about strategic quitting. It's about intelligently walking away from projects or jobs or even commitments that just aren't giving you a return anymore, so you can free up all that precious energy for what really does. I absolutely love this analogy. It is so simple and so true. Just collecting facts, that's knowledge. But it's not enough. The real goal is understanding. It's about collecting mental models and patterns that actually help you make better decisions in the real world. It's the difference between knowing a fact and knowing how to use it. All right, so we've done some work on the inner world. Now it's time to get practical. How do we translate that internal mindset into the actual everyday actions that are going to shape our lives? Okay, this method is, well, it's ruthless, but man, is it effective. You write down everything you want to achieve. Then you circle your top 3. Here's the kicker. Everything you didn't circle, that now becomes your avoid at all cost list. These are the good ideas that you are now consciously deciding to say no to because they'll distract you from your great ones. And this same idea of focused investment applies to our relationships too. Just think of every interaction you have as either a deposit or a withdrawal from a trust bank account. Big, grand gestures are nice, but what really builds that account up are the small, consistent deposits. A random check-in text, remembering a tiny detail they told you, just really listening. That's the stuff that matters. This question right here, this can reframe everything for you. We are so obsessed with time management, but we're focusing on the wrong currency. The real key is energy management. Things like your health, your sleep, staying away from people who drain you, those aren't luxuries. They're force multipliers. They determine the quality of every single hour you've got. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. Daily actions are absolutely critical, but they have to be adding up to something bigger, right? They need to serve a bigger picture. So let's talk about building a life portfolio and playing the long game. First things first, you gotta forget that old idea of a career ladder. It's obsolete, it's done. Today, it's way more like a career jungle gym. You move sideways, you move diagonally. Sometimes you might even take a step down to learn something new. Each move isn't just about climbing higher. It's about building a unique, powerful combination of skills that makes you impossible to replace. And remember, comfort is career quicksand. This chart perfectly illustrates a concept called time affluence. It's this idea that the person making less money might actually be way richer. Why? Because when you factor in their freedom and their free time, their true hourly rate is way, way higher. So it forces you to ask yourself, what are you really sacrificing for that bigger salary? Oh man, if you've ever felt creatively stuck, this metaphor is for you. Creativity isn't about waiting around for some perfect idea to strike. It's like an old faucet. When you first turn it on, all this rusty, gross water comes out. Those are your bad ideas. You have to have the patience to let them run, to push through the rust, because that's what clears the pipes for the clean water, the good stuff, to finally flow. Okay, so we've covered psychology, daily actions, long-term strategy, the whole shebang. But where does it all begin? How does any big change actually start? It starts right now, in the next 5 minutes. This is the simple, powerful math of your life. It's the compounding effect of your choices. Those tiny, almost insignificant habits you do every day, those become your daily actions. And your daily actions become your years. And your years, they become your life. Everything big starts small. And really, if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The goal isn't to magically find a 25th hour in the day. It's about filling the 24 hours you already have with focus, with energy, and with actions that genuinely, truly matter to you. So, I'll leave you with this question. Forget about someday. That day never shows up. Based on everything we've just talked about, what is one small, deliberate thing you will do today to make your hours count?